Because yesterday was the first time that ever happened where people came up to me and wanted to take pictures. Paladin,
Crazy, bro.
Especially Paladin, the superstar, right? But,
Paladin's like, what?
but it's like we're all talking about it.
Hi guys, we're back. Another TFT podcast. Today we've got Omar on, a funded trader with TFT originally. Now you're kind of trading with a lot of different prop firms. Got your own project coming out and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited to have you on the pod, man. And it's been quite a while. You've been with us for a long time.
Yeah, I was actually I was with you guys like since the Tory days. I think I was I think I was the first interview with Tory.
No.
Yeah, I swear.
That's crazy.
And look at the level up since then, man. So
yeah, the level up's been crazy. I saw you posted a review video on TFT like a year ago.
Yeah,
with the whole website and all this different shit. I was like, yo, what? We were terrible. Like,
man, I was an OG in the game, and I mean, listen, man, props to you guys because like since then, I remember the website was like. It was so difficult to log in.
Yep.
I had to go to like this secondary website, but now it's like a lot more seamless. Like you just log in, dashboard, the trade hubs, the competitions.
Streamline, yeah. So in terms of like your journey to get into it a little bit, so it seems like you've been trading with TFT for a while. In general, how long you been trading?
I started in 2017 with equities, right?
Okay.
Transitioned to Forex in 2018. Less capital was needed. So it's kind of just like that, just the natural progression.
Yeah.
So 2018, been trading Forex and yeah, man, really started to find that kind of profitability end of 2019 into 2020. Mm-hmm. And then 2021 and 2022 were the years that really started to, all right, now.
Got over the hump, Yeah, so in terms of like your career, like what do you do for work?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So, and that's why I always tell like people who are coming up, right?
Yeah.
Well, especially on Twitter, is like, dude, don't put yourself in a position where you don't have any nest egg, right? It's sexy to tell people, oh, only focus on Plan A, but
like Paladin.
Yeah. Nah, but even Paladin will tell people that you need a nest egg.
Yeah.
But I was doing insurance, so So long story short. I had the insurance license. I kind of ventured off in that industry after I was doing hookah. I was like, pretty much like those people who pack the hookahs at a lounge. I was only making...
I was a shisha man.
Yeah, shisha packer, yeah. $300, $400 a week off the books. And then, but I had my license, so I'm like, all right, you know what? I can make way more money with insurance. Even to this day, I have the insurance broker, but I'm trying to exit that soon, obviously, with SFT.
Insurance broker is a big business, though.
It really is,
key,
man. Bro, I'm telling you, man.
Key.
I was talking to one of your guys' traders, Creed. He was actually asking me about that, and I told him, listen.
He works in an insurance company, right?
Yeah, but he's an agent. But I told him, like, listen, the big money is in the broker field.
Yeah. One of my buddies from my hometown, his dad owns an insurance brokerage.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, guy's a trust fund baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, huge business, bro.
It really is.
How difficult is it, like insurance brokering? Like, what's the difficult part about it?
It's just marketing. Like, if you're able to, if you're good at networking and speaking with people, because from one insurance broker to the next, there's no difference. It's kind of like, I don't want to say like prop firms, but it's the same thing. Like, you have 3 different prop firms that all have very similar rule sets. You're going to go to the one that maybe you relate with the most. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the insurance business.
Interesting.
What's the difference someone coming to my insurance broker versus the next? It's honestly the network building.
Do you have your own like premiums and stuff for yourself through your insurance brokerage, or how does it work?
Yeah, so the way insurance brokers work is I'm pretty much the middleman. Yep. So I go to the insurance company on behalf of my client, and then they essentially, I fill out the application for them. I reach out to maybe like 5 different insurance companies. I get different premiums based off the rates, and pretty much like sell it back to the client. Like, hey, this is what's offered. You charge a broker fee, and typically it's about 10% commissions.
So in terms of that, seems like a pretty manual like process.
Yeah, very simple. Yeah, it's very simple.
But in terms of like Forex, there's obviously a lot of influence here. They have brokerages, right? And they're making hella money with all this stuff. Is that insurance brokerage like scalable without hiring like crazy?
No. So if you want to scale it, like let's just say like to millions of dollars, like 7 figures plus,
right?
Yeah, you need agents. You need licensed agents, and some of them can work under your broker, but it depends state by state. But if you want to scale, you need agents just because the workload is going to get so much more when you have 300, 400 clients where you have to do audits and you have to do so much other stuff, that if your passion is to scale the insurance business to 8-9 figures, you're going to need a whole team, just like you guys have with like TFT or any other big business.
True. These are facts. So in terms of the industry, right? So 2021, 2022, you got over the hump. You started getting payouts from prop firms, this and that. As it stands today, do you still trade prop firms, like prop accounts?
Yeah, but with one prop firm now. And honestly, I was actually talking to Kyle and them, and like, I'm actually just focused now on my personal capital with Oanda, just because like my goal, there's opportunities that we potentially have with like getting real big investor capital, but they need 6 to 12 month track record. If you show them a prop firm account with different account numbers, they're kind of like, they're turned off by it. And they also like require like a specific amount of drawdown. So I'm still trading props, but like more aggressively on the side. But the main account I'm focused on now is like with personal funds.
So in terms of there was that speaker today that was, I forgot what his name is, Bob Elliott, right?
Bob Elliott, yeah.
And I think you tweeted about it, how he was talking about being systematic, having an edge play out over time, this and that. Like, why did that resonate with you? Like, hit those words.
Yeah, because man, like it's just Paladin always talks about it, where it's like if you flip a coin multiple times, you know what I mean, heads or tails, and it's just trading in general is just systematic and it's probability based. So if you know if it's probability based and you have some sort of edge with trading, whether it's your risk to reward versus win rate, whether it's a specific strategy, being able to execute, whatever it is, right? If you keep the risk relatively the same, or you adjust risk based on the higher probabilities, for example. What happens is you just give yourself an edge overall to make money. And that's why it resonates. Anyone who's played poker or even blackjack, they understand there's a specific set of hands where there's going to be a higher probability. So if you play bigger on those specific hands, you're ultimately going to that's how you're going to be able to outlast other on the poker play. And in order for the statistical edge to play out, it has to be over the course of many hands. Same thing with trading. You need to be able, like you can't, that's why if you overleverage on one trade, it's like, dude, you're not allowing the probabilities over
like,
6 months. Yeah, it's like, and again, I used to do the same shit, you start blowing accounts, and because, you get greedy.
I have an analogy, like for anyone that has just heard the same thing about being systematic, this and that. Imagine like we were flipping a coin. This isn't like the greatest analogy, but imagine every time I just flipped it like this and it landed and it's heads or tails. It's boring. We're not moving, we're not doing, and then imagine I did it like this, and the next time I threw it up, and the other time I threw it over there, and you're like, what's gonna happen? That's kind of like trading. Like you're just randomly taking trades, randomly taking setups, and then it's over there, it's over here, and you're like, shit, it worked. This worked, that worked. That's how you fail.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Ultimately. Man. But now I'm like, but I feel like every trade's gonna go through that. Because man, just such a big, it's you learn through a lot of like trials and tribulations.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you feel as though you're a legend?
Nah, not yet.
Right? Because you're like you're on Twitter, you got a lot of followers, this and that, you're garnering some influence. Do you feel like a legend?
Internally, I've always felt like a legend.
Okay,
I've always
fair
felt
enough.
like, but like in terms of like influence and stuff like that, I was talking to Kyle about, it's like, dude, I'm just a regular person from that aspect. Yeah, I have a few followers, but it's not like, even if I was like somewhere at the Ray Dalio level, like those people that I aspire to be, like I know the way I feel now would be the way I feel there. It's like, hey, I feel like a legend inside. I know I have all this potential.
It's internal.
Exactly. I don't need external people to tell me.
Because even last night, like I'm going through the emotions of thinking about, holy shit, there's so many traders coming up to me. So many people interested in what, like TFT. Like, bro, it's like crazy, right? But at the end of the day, I'm like, that's kind of, it's like not confusing, but it's like, that's not my compass, that's not my gauge on our success. My gauge is just internal. If I'm showing up, if I'm having discipline, if I'm learning, if I'm innovating, like if I'm supporting the people, making great products. So it's internal, but now it's like, shit, this is big, right? Like this is big, but even now I'm like, well, I'm just gonna manage that by just keeping it internal. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And keep working on myself. So 100%. It seems like you're kind of the same way with that right now.
Oh, without a doubt. Because again, it's because everything and Paladin and Kyle, we talked about this all, like, because we all have the Airbnb together. We've been talking about it like every day, where it's like weird. Because yesterday was the first time that ever happened where people came up to me and wanted to take pictures. Paladin,
crazy, bro.
Especially Paladin, the superstar, right?
But Paladin's like, what?
But it's like we're all talking about it, where it's like, listen, it's cool that you have that impact, but like we all still feel like there's so much more, and we're all like fairly confident. So we all have that internal dialogue. We're like, listen, we know we're special, but like when it comes to like each other individual coming up to us, we don't feel like there's anything special. Yeah, I know it contradicts, but.
Yeah, but well, it's because you guys built it authentically. You're not buying followers. You're not buying influence. Like, you're doing similar to what I was doing at Forex League. You're legit still posting weekly reviews.
Yeah.
You're just showing up for the people.
Yeah.
That's how you actually gain trust. You help people.
And it's funny because like some people ask me how to grow on Twitter, and I'm like, listen, guys, when me and Paladin grew on right at the same trajectory, and it was because the same weekly reviews I do now, I did them a year ago. You know, and we were posting payouts, we were posting reviews. I have a whole public Telegram to promote that I actually know what I'm doing as a funnel. But like the problem is some people,
free,
it's free, but then some people they use the cars or they use the lifestyle. But it brings more of a different type of crowd. Yeah,
if anything, you're more prepared to launch something similar to the Smart Funded Trader.
Agreed.
Because you've gained the trust of the people because you just have been giving them value. And now ultimately it sounds like the goal is to continue to give them value. So I know the SFT just launched, right? Like last week. And we've had a good launch. What are like your goals for SFT?
Yeah, man, our goals, people always ask like, okay, what's the difference between like all these other prop firms? And like, yeah, we can always like adjust specific rule sets. We might be able to, but relatively from company to company, everyone's very similar. So our goal is just to kind of treat this in the, like, that's why we have the whole brain logo. From the jump, when we talked about branding, how did we want our brand to be? It's not like the luxury stuff, but we're trying to find like the real professional traders that are going to come in, you know, potentially educate some of them, you know what I mean? Give them the tools to success, whether it's the technology side of things that we can implement with SFT, and then grow it to something where it's a vehicle that it could actually turn into an actual brick and mortar prop firm as a subset. You know, we've made so many connections with so many different people in Dubai, some people in the UK, where if that was an option down the line as a subset,
a lot of money to come in.
Exactly. And we've seen it in Dubai where people are getting like multi-millions from investors to start a brick and mortar prop. And the benefit of like me and Paladin really focusing on our trading and having other people like Kyle in our corner, you know, like to kind of facilitate potentially having that track record to gain that type of equity, you know, and maybe potentially even finding a really great trader through the prop firm. You know, we can take this to things like bigger than just a prop
way
firm
bigger,
online.
Bro. Way bigger. And the crazy part is that you guys are great traders.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at the core of it, because there's a lot of talk like, oh, prop firm CEOs can't trade and this and that. Like, y'all literally are verified as traders from their payouts.
Exactly.
So it's like, what else we got to say?
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, listen, man, at the end of the day, like, you don't have to be a great trader to be a great CEO. So even the people that talk about, like, you know, like that, it's like, I think people just talking shit just to talk shit because at the end of the day, whether or not, like, there's prop firms on Twitter and YouTube and all these other platforms, like the FTMO guy or my Forex funds, they might not trade, but I mean, as long as they're running a great company and they're doing right by the people, that's what matters. Yeah,
one thing we'll close it off with this. One thing I'll just give you as advice is you had just said you don't got to be a great trader to be a CEO, right? But the reality is you don't even got to be the CEO. You can be the board member of the company. Like, you could be the guy that's just the visionary, that's just the one with the ideas, you know, at the top, and then you could just hire a CEO.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think ultimately that's the direction to go. And as I learn more about business, I'm like, well, shit, I should continue to go in the direction of being a board member of the company, a creator, an innovator, and I should plug in those executives. But obviously, that takes money.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Because you got to pay them well, man, because at the end of the day...
they're good ones.
Yeah, they're good ones, exactly. Especially when they're running a big company like you guys are doing it with TFT.
Right.
Are they going to care as much as you? When you?
Right.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, you got to just align people. So last thing, why should people follow Omar on Twitter?
Honestly, just for the jokes. I think the jokes will make it. I think the jokes will make it worth it. Sure, I could give you guys trade signals and trade ideas, but the jokes is what keeps people entertained, and it keeps you sane because this industry will drive you nuts. Yeah. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure to speak with you, Omar, on the pod. I think my first pod with you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, been a pleasure, man. Yeah, man. Yo, thanks for having me. Look forward to the future. Yes, sir.